If I have the opportunity to get a 6th library card, will I do it? Absolutely. I listened to the audiobook, of course. It was audiobook month. Well, at least for me it was. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cmoore, and this is Cmoore-Books. I'm recording from a new location in my kitchen counter. Have my big mirror in my background so you can see the microwave right here. I just happened to be sitting on the counter. It felt like a great time to film. Saw from the thumbnail, the title of today's video, filming my August wrap up, and it's already September 8th, so I was like, I need to get on this. So let's get right into the wrap up. So I always like to share some stats first. And let's get rid of that. So we're gonna start off on Storygraph. Storygraph is amazing. I read 14 books last month with a total of 3,993 pages. I had a variety of moods, as always. Lighthearted, emotional. Those are usually my top ones. Adventurous, mysterious, and then funny. Only a tad funny. Medium paced always seems to be like the big one. And then slow is leading fast this month. And I did actually finish a book over 500 pages. I don't remember what that was. Oh, yes, Strange the Dreamer. That was it. And then I did majority of my books were fiction and one nonfiction. Why don't those numbers add up? Something mustn't be classified as fiction or nonfiction, at my guess. I don't know what happened there. But yeah. Majority young adult, fantasy, children's, middle grade, and then comics and graphic novels. And apparently I read a play. What was considered a play. That is fascinating. I would have not considered that a play, but to each their own. The majority of my books last month were audiobooks. I started my new job as the director of youth services at my local library, and it has kept me very, very busy. I barely finished my school readathon last month. It was honestly a miracle. I actually had my dog do a round 2, a pet pick, because I was not going to finish the one she originally picked. So I had her pick from some picture books, which I could finish in like 5 minutes. But I digress. A range of star ratings, which we'll get into. So, as most of you know, I love my PowerPoints. Those of you who watched my wrap-ups brings me back to my college and grad school days. Yeah, it just makes me happy. Let us get into it and on to the first book. So the first book that I read was Absolutely Nat by Maria Scriven. This is an autobiographical graphic novel. Maybe this was the comic, possibly. This is when Nat goes to summer camp. It was so fun. I didn't know that there was a third one in this graphic novel series. So I'd only read the first 2, and then I happened to see it, and I was like, I'm gonna put this on hold. And it finally came in. So 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. They're really fun graphic novels, and the author really portrays her life in a fun way that's so relatable. Like, it's things that we have all experienced, and like her sharing her experiences definitely will help kids to not feel like they're not alone. So I really appreciated that. The next book that I finished was The Shatter Castle, the final book in the Ascendance series by Jennifer A. Nielsen. 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. Charlie, I think it's Mick Wade, reads these books. He does such a fantastic job. If you have not read any of these books, I highly recommend them. This entire series. It's fantastic. Obviously, I cannot tell you plot details for the fifth one because it would spoil the first four books. And so much goes down. Well, the first one, we have Sage, who is an orphan. He is taken by, and him and two other orphans are taken by this noble named Bevan Connor, and he's gonna try and train one of the orphans to take over the throne, because there's this prince that they say died or he just disappeared or whatever, and so they're gonna try and get them to take his place, or the false prince. It's wonderful. And then, so that one I read for Magical Readathon. I also read this one for Magical Readathon. I found this one on my library's free shelf. Okay for Now by Gary D. Schmidt. Oh my goodness, this is 5 out of 5 stars. And I was not okay after this one. I was absolutely not okay. Which medal is that? Odyssey Honor. Oh, for audiobook. Okay. I don't know if any won any other awards, but winner of a Newbery Honor. Honestly, it should have won the Newbery. Oh my goodness, it was so fantastic. So fantastic. I can't remember the character's name right now, but it's all the things that he goes through, and with his family situation. It's a very rough family situation, especially with his dad. And it's set during the period of the Vietnam War, and things happen with his brother who was serving in the Vietnam War, and when he comes back, and like each chapter is, and he develops a friendship with the local librarians, and he develops this love of art and drawing, and he starts drawing these pictures of these birds that are inside these encyclopedias. I can't remember the exact name of the encyclopedia, but like each chapter is like a title of a different bird. And there's 10 of them. So powerful. Cannot recommend it enough. Please, please, please read it. The audio is also fantastic, which is how I read the book. So, and then I listened to Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This book made me very uncomfortable. So this is like a early science fiction book. I think it was published in like the 60s. Just some of the situations. So like, it was like a science experiment where this boy who was more mentally disabled, and so like this experiment was supposed to make him smarter. And so like you see him like changing in like the like journal entries that he writes, and then he has these flashbacks of when things were rough in his life and people making fun of him, making jokes out of him, and it just made me so uncomfortable how mean people were, and the abuse that he suffered from his mother, and like thinking that like they had to fix him, and like there was nothing wrong with him. Oh, it made me sad. It made me uncomfortable. I did not like it. I know there are people that have like this book, but it was just not me. It was not me for me. And then I read It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han in preparation for season 2. I also did a video reacting to season 1 and season 2 after reading book 1 and book 2, which is this book 2 in the series, in the Summer I Turned Pretty series. Book is so heartbreaking on so many levels. And I am honestly so happy that I have like the original audiobook narrator. I think it's Jessica Almacy, because you can't find it anywhere anymore. The girl that plays Belly in the show, apparently they had the actors record the book. I'm not saying she's not a good actress, which I really do like her in the show. I didn't like the way she recorded the audio, but I do like her as an actress. I just don't like the way she recorded the audiobook. But that is my opinion. You can have your own opinion. And on the recommendation of the director of the library they work at, I checked this book out, and the book after this one that we're going to talk about, because they're by the same author, Sophie Blackall. This is Hello Lighthouse. It's about a lighthouse keeper and like his adventures. Such a beautiful story. The art is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, I'm so excited to get my own copy of this. And I've been reading this book all this week for story time, for Build With Me story time. It's like I would read this book, and then the kids would build a lighthouse, and they had so much fun building their lighthouses. So yeah, beautiful story, beautiful artwork, because the author did the artwork and the story. Like, she did such an amazing job. Oh, and there's a reason. Caldecott medalist, like, come on. And we have If You Come to Earth by Sophie Blackall. So I don't know if this one got, I don't think this one got a medal, but she is a 2-time Caldecott medalist. As she should be, as she should be. This one makes you re-examine life. Honestly, it makes you think about so many things about life, and my goodness, still have thoughts. I need to read it again to that is how you know a picture book. Like, honestly, picture book can be so profound that 32 to 40 pages can sometimes make me think more than like a 400-page book. That is impressive right there. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And the art is just as gorgeous in this one. Like, just look at the cover. Like, And then I'm finally caught up on all the Adrienne Young books that I not read. This was the last one. As actually, I'm not caught up on all the Adrienne Young books, because there's a novella that just got released. So close. Never mind. But I digress. But The Last Legacy is set in the same world as Fable and Fable Namesake and Saint. This is set after Fable and Namesake. I enjoyed this story so much more than I thought I was going to. I had heard mixed reviews about this, and that made me a little worried. The audiobook narrator, she did a wonderful job bringing this character to life, and the intrigue and the family politics. So interesting to see, to get inside like the Roth family, because you sort of got a little bit of a hint of the Roth family in Namesake and in Saint. I think maybe a little bit in Fable. It's been a while since I've read Fable, but it was really interesting to get a deep dive into the Roth family and see how their world ticks, and to have someone new come into that world, even though like she's a part of their family, but that has been living away, and then like had to try and like integrate herself back in. Definitely read it. It's wonderful. I read another one of the companion books to New Kid by Jerry Craft. I really enjoyed the first two in this graphic novel series. And I think the art was great in this. And like the story, I just feel like the story suffered a great deal from the political things that the author's trying to get across. Which I think that's important, to share things and issues that are to be talked about, that sometimes kids and middle graders aren't aware of, and things that they deal with. But I feel like it was just overdone too much, that I feel like the story suffered a little. It suffered from that, like it overshadowed the story. Like it brought me out of the story. Like it was a little too heavy-handed, at least for me. At least for me. But I still, if there's going to be a fourth one, I will give it a go. So I'm not out of it, but I just feel like the story suffered because it was just a little too heavy-handed on the political issue stuff. And then I read A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcy Little Badger. This was a really interesting book. So the reason I picked this one up is because I had to find a book with Earth in the title for Magical Readathon, and holy crap, was that hard. That was so hard. But I really love this book. It didn't give me quite 5-star feelings, which is why I gave it a 4-star. 4 stars, but it was so good. I really liked learning more about Native American culture and authors like ancestry and tribe, and the idea of animals and humans and how they are like linked, and like their relationship to one another. And it was just so, it was really, really interesting. I would definitely recommend it. And I really enjoy the audiobook. Are you seeing a trend on the audiobooks this month? Read The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. I heard about this one from Kara, from Kara's Bookshelf. Stars. Oh my goodness. This gave me major Addie LaRue vibes. Ever made a deal with the devil? This is about vampires. Oh my goodness. But it was in character pondering like what it means to be alive, and the purpose of life and family, and what death means. Those are the flashbacks from like present day to past, and how it weaves together the story. Also made me like, gave me the Addie LaRue vibes a little bit too. Jacqueline Holland really knocked out of the park for me. Loved it. And then I read Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I didn't know what to expect from this book at all. I listened to the audiobook, of course. It was audiobook month. Well, at least for me it was. This book was so fun. I did not expect the ending. I still don't know how I feel about the ending, which I'm not going to talk about the ending because I don't want to spoil it. Just the way that I loved Laszlo as a character so much. Just the way that he fell in love with Weep, the city of Weep, and how he yearned for it, and he just wanted to go there. Like that was his dream, and he did all that research, and or what anyone said, like he would never give up on Weep, no matter if people were making fun of him. Like he just felt it so deeply, and I just thought that was so beautiful. And just the way he talked about it, and the way he talked about books and history and knowledge. He was my favorite character by far. But I really did like the main girl's point of view that we got, that lived up in that place above Weep. I really did like her, but her name is escaping me right now. She was really cool. I also can't mention the ending because it's major spoilers, but I do like her. I read, this was the book that I had my dog pick, Mel Fell by Corey R. Tabor. I gave this 5 stars. It was so adorable. So it's about this little bird, Mel, and he's like, I am gonna fly, I'm gonna go get food for everyone. Like the mama bird had like flown away, and like it was just the babies left. Like they've been out of the nest for a while. He's like, I'm gonna do it. So he jumps off, and then he just takes a nosedive, and like everyone's like, oh no, like he just keeps falling straight down. Like everyone like tries to catch him, and like, oh no, like what do we do? What do we do? And then he literally hits the water, and then he comes straight back up with a fish because he's a kingfisher. And sometimes that's how life is. That like people think that just because we do things a little bit differently than the way that they think that we should, that it's wrong. But like we have our own ways of doing things, and the way that works for us might not be the way that it works for someone else. We have to be individuals. And so I really liked Mel. Mel went for it, and Mel did it. Of course, the fish did fall in the end. So it was so cute. My final book, which filled my final. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's only like 5:23 right now. I don't know why I'm yawning. Actually, I do. It's been a very busy week. First week of programming, so I fell asleep during the show that my family and I watched together, and I just like had to rewatch the episode this afternoon. But I digress. So Dear Student by Ellie Swartz. I didn't know what to make of this book. I just saw it on the news shelf in the library, and I was like, this looks adorable. And then I did not have time for it, like to read it physically. And then I found the audiobook on the Libby app. If you do not use Libby, do it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I have 5 library cards, so I can have access to as many digital libraries as possible. Am I obsessed? Absolutely. Am I a librarian? Yes. So I make no apologies. If I have the opportunity to get a 6th library card, will I do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But Dear Student is about our main character whose name I can't remember right now. I don't know why I can't remember anyone's name today. I'm usually really good with character names too, so this is really bothering me. Oy vey. But our main character, her and her sister and her mom, they live above the veterinarian clinic that her mom runs. Their dad is her and her sister's dad, and their mom's husband. He is currently away working for the Peace Corps, and it makes all of them really sad. They all tried to convince him not to go, but something he felt that he needed to do. And their family has just never been the same, and he's been gone for like well over a year at this point. And so this is like the start of a new school year when we pick up. So our main girl, she has the opportunity, she puts in to become the advice columnist in the school paper, and it's called Dear Student. And she gets that opportunity. And so it goes through the ups and downs of being Dear Student and making new friends and having anxiety and feeling awkward and not knowing what to do with family situations when like you want your whole family to be all together and you're just not sure what's going to happen. It was a wonderful, wonderful story. Middle grade is so great. If you have not read a middle grade lately, I would suggest this one. It's fantastic. But it's the final book that I've read for. So that is the final book that I've read for the month of August. It was a really great reading month. and I'm already loving my reading month for September. I've really got to pick it up though with my TBR Ring Toss books, but the books that I have read have still been great. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you are having a great day, afternoon, or night whenever you're watching this. And if you have not liked and subscribed, I really hope that you do. I would love for you to stick around, and it would really mean the world to me. It really would. And it really helps my channel to grow. And yeah. And I also want to say, remember who you are and where you live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.